Starting out my Burr Oaks Loop Trail. The total length is, I think, just over 6 miles, like 6.1 miles. My pack is about loaded up as capacity is beyond. This is the Osprey whatever 24. It's really more of a day pack, but I've got it loaded up for a weekend trip I plan to take this weekend, so I thought I'd kind of stress test it. Alright, look around, make sure there's nobody watching. I've learned so much in this, whatever, it's been 10 minute trip. Here we go. Shortly rocky here. It's stuff like this that they say, oh, this makes this a difficult trail, or a moderate trail. Oh no. I guess we're taking the long loop. I had to triple check it, because I mapped this out 1,000 different ways to try to maximize it. Yeah, some of these trails, I'm not super duper familiar with how the rating system works. But sometimes it's like, there'll be like one log across the path and they're like, oh, that's a moderate. Whereas the rest of the trail, it's, gravel. It's like, this is easy. But, I don't know, whatever. They didn't ask me. So some of the things I learned, just getting out of the van, basically. It's one, I need to pack smarter, which, to be fair, this pack is way too small for this. I think that's just a game trail. Yeah. My pack is way too small for overnight, but I couldn't find my sunglasses. And I thought, well, I shouldn't need them, and if I do, it'll just be lesson learned. Oh geez, spiderweb. Saw it at the last second. So I learned already, I need to pack better. I forgot my sunglasses already. And then there was, I immediately dumped my 1 liter electrolyte water bottle into my Catadine Be-Free filter. I said, that'll save me a little bit of weight, just putting the water into my filter before another spiderweb. I guess very few people have hiked this. Check this tree out. You guys know what kind of tree this is? I'm pretty sure this is a pawpaw. Pawpaws are rampant throughout Missouri, and they are, here's a whole bunch of them. More picturesque part of the trail. I've hiked most of these trails in the past, never with a 20-pound pack, but here we are. But yeah, the pawpaws, they're oblong, like an egg shape or pear shaped type of fruit. I guess they taste like bananas. They've got these black seeds inside of them. I guess they're pretty good. I think I've eaten one before, but I don't recall. They're kind of a mushy substance. I know I've, picked them before. I don't remember eating that. I think I ate them, but I can't remember the details. But yeah, the pawpaws grow all over Missouri, and they are, they're not really commercially grown and harvested because of the seeds. They're big black seeds. They're like, maybe not a kidney bean, but like that. They're like a bean shape, and there's a lot of them, and so just processing the plant, the fruit, is a little difficult. It's more work than what it's worth, I guess. You learn something new every day. 0.93 miles. And so I'm just going to stop and take a break. Something I've learned, and I'm learning, is to take breaks. Go slow. It's like my first hike, I cranked it out I did 6 miles at 3 miles an hour, and that kind of kicked my butt. To be fair, that was my first hike in a long time. And so, you know, it's like, I was probably going to get my butt kicked no matter what I did. So this time, I'm carrying, I think my pack's marginally heavier, but this trail is much more elevation and a little more difficult. And so taking more breaks, that kind of thing is critical. Another thing I have learned or figured out just doing this initial test run type of thing, this hike, is that my All Trails app wasn't working 100%. I have been using, so my Samsung Health app, I've been running it in addition to the All Trails app, and that's the Samsung Health app has been way more accurate as far as like distance and speed and time and path and all of those things. But I think the settings on the All Trail app were severely limited to not waste the battery, and I also needed to do an All Trails app update, and so I changed the battery settings and I updated the app, and it seems like the All Trails app is working as it should now. And so in the future, hopefully I'll just be able to use All Trails instead of running Samsung alongside it. That being said, the Samsung app has a lot of good features, like it'll tell me my speed, which I think is important because I don't want to go too fast and burn myself out. I just checked the All Trails app, and it has everything that I just mentioned that I was like, I don't think it does speed or pacing. No, it does all that. So now that my app is updated, it'll just be a matter of finishing this hike and then not using the Samsung data. Just go with the All Trails. Just to keep you updated, and this is my first turn. But to be fair, it looked like a game trail to me. It wasn't as big as, you know, these paths are really wide and well used. It was probably bigger than that, but only marginally, and so it was easy to miss. Oof. I don't know about this guy. I'm actually going to backtrack and go around this fallen tree. If I was confident that that tree just fell and I knew the path continued, I would just climb through the tree. But I'm not. So if that tree's been there a while and nobody's been hiking that trail's going to be way overgrown. So I'm just going to go this way and then cut back. Since I'm doing a bit of like a figure 8 type of loop, I might see what it looks like on the other side and hike it that way. That way I know that path looks fine, and then when I come to that tree again, just climb through it. We've gotten out of the woods into more of a prairie setting, and the sun is shining. Here's what I know. After hiking in that open with the sun blazing, I'm toasty. But I've been taking breaks every mile. And right now I'm at like 3.3 miles, and there hasn't been a bench for that, 1.3 miles. And so, wanting to take a break, but we're going into an opening again. Look at all the cone flowers. Pretty. Prairie Connector. We're taking the Discovery Trail. This way. We're just getting a full experience. We've had rocks and dirt and grass. Now we've got some asphalt. And here's some concrete. All kinds of trail. Wood planks. I think this is engineered wood or that plastic stuff. I was just thinking, what would happen if I dropped my phone over that? Say, kiss that thing goodbye. You could get down there. Bet people have done it. I had to hike about 1.5 miles, 1.6 miles before I found another bench. So I'm going to do some more stretches. I stretched things I learned. The first time I didn't do any stretches, and so I've kind of learned stretching isn't going to hurt you. So I probably could have done more stretches. So I'm going to spend some time doing that here. Yeah, so they've got quite a bit of like sidewalk for, you know, people in wheelchairs and other people that can't hike so well. In addition to the, you know, rocky terrain that you've also seen. So it's a good little place to get out in nature, no matter your skill level or ability. I've seen quite a few families out with their children, and there's the nature center. There's all sorts of, you know, educational things and stuff like that. So I definitely think it's a good area. Here's a little glades overlook. We'll take that shortcut, that little spur. Those trees have come down and they've about hit this. I'm a little surprised they haven't just thinned those out. But, yeah. Neat. The eastern redbud. Pink flower clusters in the spring. Wildlife uses seeds, nectar, wood products, crafts and novelties. 20 to 30 feet tall. That it is, Governor. Here we've got a black oak. This is the Missouri Tree Trail. So if you're into arbors, trees, if trees are your thing, this might be the park for you. But yeah, it's neat to see the different Missouri native tree species. You see what I see? Another bench. Persimmon. Well, it was nice and sunny when I started, and I was crying when I came out here to the prairie about how bright the sun was. Now it's a little overcast, and I was like, well, I better check like the weather, see the humidity and all that. And it says it's up to 81, but it feels like 86. But at noon, which is about an hour away, there's a 56% chance of rain. So I did bring a poncho, but I didn't plan to put it on. But you know, that's why we do these things, so we learn. So I might get wet, we'll see. I can hear the thunder rolling. If I wasn't already drenched in sweat, there's a high probability I'm gonna get drenched when it starts raining. But I am on the home stretch, so it's an ominous sky. Uh-oh. It is coming down pretty good now. Even in this, you know, even under the cover of the trees, it's a wet one. I started slowing down as soon as I got back. I grabbed my keys. I need to stop this. Yeah. A lesson I learned was when your keys are in your backpack and it's raining under your, you know, poncho, that creates a problem of getting your keys out of your pack while you're in the rain. Of course, the rain's stopping. You gotta be kidding. Yeah, so I guess another thing I learned is it'll be pouring, and the moment you get back to the vehicle, it turns into a light drip. Whew. It's kind of hard to say. My pack got a little wet, but I know that's also partially from getting my keys out. And that Sea to Summit poncho is nice. I just feel like I'm not convinced it's as waterproof, because I was only out in the rain for maybe half an hour and it got wet. I'm also not super keen on the snaps, which I get it, they're quick and efficient and they're not going to rust or anything like that, but once the poncho got wet, the weight of the water held it down. Prior to that, when it was just windy, that thing was whipping everywhere. It was kind of a process to figure out how to put it on. What I should have done, lessons life has taught me, when I knew it was going to rain, rather than, you know, rush and try to beat the rain, I should have stopped, pulled the poncho out. I've never used it before, so I had no idea what, you know, orientation was front versus back versus, you know, are they snapped together or their sleeves. I didn't know. And so I figured that out on the fly. And it probably wasn't snapped right. Maybe not. I don't know. But, you know, it was nice and breezy, so it wasn't like, you know, miserable. Yeah. Now I'm going to have a pepperoni stick.